Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. Joan served the state of California as a member on the Arts Council and on the Film Commission. She was formerly on the Architectural Commission and fulfilled 2 terms on the Fine Arts Commission for the city of Beverly Hills. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Condé Nast Publications, and the Hearst Corporation, Joan covered the world of fashion, the mysteries of food, the excitement of theater, and the international art scene. She continues to find people who are on the cutting edge of their professions. Here's Joan AGAJAINIAN Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan AGAJAINIAN Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're taping here in the Hollywood Museum on Highland Avenue in the heart of Hollywood. And our guests today are writer Laureen Vonnegut and artist Michael McCall. Writer, filmmaker, playwright, Laureen Vonnegut is a California native. She's lived in the north of the state and in the south. She's makes her home base in Mexico right now, and she has another house in Eastern Europe, I think, right?
In Bucharest.
Fantastic. Laureen went to 5 different colleges all over the state where she studied business management and computer science. She's written short stories, directed award-winning films, and for the stage, she's written The Porcini Test, and This is Palm Springs. Laureen, let's get back to the computer science and business management. How does that fit into this writing career?
My father always wanted to have something to fall back on, so he insisted on a degree that was practical.
That was practical?
Yeah.
And then, but most people take literature or writing, so
well, I would have liked to have. Yeah, that was my goal.
Where did you go to college? Because you went to Fresno and San Diego and San Francisco.
And University of Santa Clara. Yeah, I decided I wanted to live in a different city every year during the summers and go to a different college every year. Yeah.
So let's how did you get a degree then? Where did you end up getting a degree?
It was very difficult. San Francisco State, it was very difficult. I'm not sure if I actually have a formal degree or not, but I have more than enough credits.
Did you? That's how I feel about a master's. I never quite got it, but I have enough credits.
Well, that's it, right?
Isn't that it? I think that's it. Where did you find a niche as you went to each one of those colleges? Because it's not easy to like settle in at a new place.
Some of them I met, you mean friend-wise?
Or well, the whole thing.
Yeah, some of them I would meet people immediately, and sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I had sort of a lonely existence there, but I knew I was moving on, so I was okay.
But was it all business all the time, all the classes?
I had, at one point I was studying architecture mixed with business. That's when I went to Woodbury University in LA. It was the only one I could find with a double degree that had that.
Right.
And then I worked for an architecture firm in Houston one summer and decided I hated it. So I decided to ditch the architecture.
Let me ask you at this point, did any of this come into your writing? Did any of these experiences?
No.
because that's what usually happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would say, I think that the central theme of what I write about in my novels is a person searching for themselves.
And your novels, one was Oasis and one's called
Twin Lies.
Twin Lies, which is a really cool name.
Yeah, it's a fun book.
Double lies,
yeah.
Twin lies.
Well, it's about a set of twins, and one of them accidentally kills the other one.
Oh.
And the other one takes on the identity of the twin that's left, so they switch in a sense.
Wow.
So, and it's also about her searching for herself rather than being her sister.
Are you a twin?
I'm not, no.
I have twins.
You do?
That's pretty scary. That's very scary.
Yeah.
And what about the Porcini test? Does that fit into any of that background we were talking about?
The Porcini test, I think, came about as I started getting older and I thought about the whole, one tiny event in your life can just flip your life going the opposite direction. And I just thought about the repercussions of that and how your life one day is like this and the next day is like this.
Did it happen to you?
Let's say that it's happened to me so much. It's more the thought of what could happen if you make a decision or even a non-decision.
Right. Wasn't there that movie that was so great, like Sliding Doors? Like if you didn't go in the door, or if you went in the door, different things happen.
Yeah.
We were talking about you're finding a niche in all these different places. I guess you found one in Mexico. Talk about that. Why you're in Mexico? Why you're in Romania?
I still love Romania. It's really cold there in the winter. We had a bad winter, and I just thought, I don't have to live here.
Why did you pick it?
Well, I was, at that point I had a boyfriend who got transferred there, and we ended up splitting up in Romania, and I stayed there. I think we were in London before that. And I just loved it. Romania's
beautiful.
It's
the
beautiful.
Painted churches, the wooden churches is so beautiful.
Yeah.
But you're not Romanian.
I'm not Romanian.
Did you speak the language?
No, but it's Latin-based.
Oh, so oh, it is, so it's a little easier to understand.
There's a lot of Slavic words in it, but it's
I
Latin-based.
see. So what about Mexico?
And Mexico, I looked around for somewhere to move to, and I was single. I wanted somewhere safe. Most people are like, safe? Mexico?
I know. But where did you move?
Merida in the Yucatan.
Oh, fabulous. Oh, way down.
Yeah, we're down by Belize. I mean, way
You're way down, but you're close to the Isla de Mujeres.
Mujeres, yeah.
Did you go over there? That's a great thing for women, right?
Yeah.
Women.
Yeah.
So have those places played into your writing?
I would say Mexico has always been kind of a special place for me. I wrote, the first things I ever wrote when I was, years ago, 20 years ago, was about Mexico and women in Mexico.
Oh, so
before I'd even lived down here.
So that's really good. So you're close to the island, the women, the whole thing that we were talking about. Yeah. Where you've written a lot of short films and directed them. Do any of those have to do with women's issues?
I think almost everything I write has to do with women in particular, and I didn't start out wanting to do that. For example, this play is three lead actresses at the age of 40, which is a little bit unusual for a theater play.
Oh, that's great. For a 40-year-old woman, they say there's no roles left, right?
3 great roles right here. Strong women, they're funny, it's dark, I really wanted to write something fun.
So tell us, let's talk about it before we go to your Cannes Festival, which was great to have a short film at the Cannes Festival.
Yeah, a lot of fun,
So what are the roles in Porcini Test?
So it's basically the 3 leads are all female, all about 40, and then I have coming in and out various husbands and lovers and all that. The lead role is a woman with an ankle monitor on. So the whole...
She has an ankle bracelet.
So she can't leave the house. So everything revolves around her being locked up in the house.
And who are the leads? Who's acting in it?
So there's Danette Gerritz, and she does a lot of work with the Promenade Playhouse, and Nancy Young, and Tanya Gonzalez.
How did you cast it?
I put out a invitation on Backstage, the website. I was inundated.
Really?
Inundated.
Were they all 40 and over, or did all these young girls come in?
There was a lot of young girls trying to get in there. I'd look at the photos and I'd go, I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. But you had a choice.
Huge choice. Yeah, not just the women, the men too. The response was incredible.
Who's directing?
Moi.
You're directing it too. You wrote it and directed it?
Yeah.
So you don't have to go to yourself to find out what to do. I always think the writer is like sitting in the background and the director is doing things that she or doesn't like.
I can't really offend the writer. It's great.
Oh, so you're directing. What about, is there music involved?
I have a friend, John Schnackenberg, and yes, that's his real name.
Oh, yeah,
He plays the saxophone, and he's going to be doing the music for it.
So he'll be live, or he's writing it?
We're going to have him live, I think, for a couple of performances. He's already played the music for it, but I think he's going to come down like the old-fashioned kind of orchestra music during the theater.
I love it. Is it 90 minutes or more?
It's about 90. We have a martini break in between.
Oh, you do have a break. I see a martini glass there.
Yeah.
What about lighting and costumes and all that?
Yeah, so we have Argent Lloyd who's doing that, and then I have a woman named Leslie Bedolla who's doing the wardrobe for everyone.
Did you actually get all this together? Or did you have a producer doing it? You're writing, producing, directing?
I mean, I have to say, I wouldn't do it again just on my own. It's just brutal. But the reason I decided to direct it is I had a reading in New York, and they read it as a slapstick comedy.
Well, there you are.
And I was sitting in the back going, ah, no.
Because this is what I was talking about, right?
Yeah,
When
so
the director goes to
I just decided, okay, forget it. I'm directing this. I'm going to have it at least once the way I want it, and then somebody else can come
and then
in
you can let go of it.
Yeah.
Okay, before we leave, tell me about this Stuff the Bear.
Stuff that bear. So
Stuff that bear. Because it went to Cannes, and a friend of mine was just there this year with a short film, Tamara Matoshin.
Okay.
And she didn't win, but she was nominated, which is great.
Listen, just going is a huge thing. It's amazing, and it's just to be walking down the street with this, the old day, a huge canister of film, right? I'm carrying this massive canister of film with my little filmy dress flowing everywhere, and I've got this huge thing of film with me.
And they know who you are.
It was
This
great.
is a film person, right? You're not the actress.
It was great. It was really great.
So before we leave, and I know that I would be remiss if I didn't ask if you were related to Kurt.
Yes.
Oh, you are? Yes. Good. I asked the right question.
Yeah.
Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah, he's a cousin.
And was he an influence at all on your?
I think he didn't directly influence what I write about, but he influenced the fact that you can do this. You know, I grew up in a house with his books in our library, so I would look at it and go, that's my name. I could do this. I could actually write a book.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's my name.
Yeah.
And so you searched all over California for it. But he wasn't in California, right?
No, no. And then I think maybe that's part of the reason I moved to Europe, was to kind of escape the Vonnegut name, in a way.
In a way, it's good, and in a way, it's not so good.
Yeah.
So you have to rise above it or rise with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we'll all look for the Porcini test. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with artist Michael McCall. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles at the Hollywood Museum. We're taping here in the iconic Max Factor building. And I'm with an old friend, artist Michael McCall, who was born in North Carolina. You can still hear a trace of that southern drawl, and raised there along with being raised in Florida. He came back to North Carolina to attend the university at Chapel Hill and graduated from University of Illinois, where he got his degree. He's written a memoir called The Tentacle Room Capers, which we'll talk about. Michael's a painter, but he's also at home with sculpture, photography, performance, and he's collaborated with a lot of people in the art world. And let's talk about tar babies and sand paintings.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What is tar babies?
Well, the reason I was led to tar paper was that I was making paintings with sand mixed with the gesso to build up a textural surface, and it took a little bit too long for me. And so I was on the roof of my building downtown LA, and I noticed the roof, and I went, there it is. And so I bought a big roll, started painting, cut them into small little 9-inch.
Oh, it's a roll, and then you cut it into the 9-inch
9-inch
pieces.
squares.
Oh, I see.
And so the first ones, the first 50 of them, I went and tarred them up around downtown.
So you were like doing street art
Right.
before
Right.
years. Was this in the 70s?
This is 84.
In the 80s.
And then I had a tour in my car. So people would come to the studio, and I go, well, let's get in the car and go see some paintings. And they go, well, we're here. And I said, well, it's LA. We got to get in the car.
Yeah.
And I'd drive around sort of like a tour guide.
Where'd you put them in? What did you put them in little forms, or were they just?
Since they're small and they have to compete with the environment, I would find places that kind of frame them. The backs of traffic control boxes.
Oh, so they would fit right into this one small 9 by. Oh, that's great. And how long did they last?
There's still some up. That's
Is
30,
that right?
30 years ago.
Is it, so we can find them somewhere? What about the color? Was it color?
The colors faded pretty good.
Were they colors?
Yeah, yeah, they were very colorful. And you could tell that they were a studio-made object.
So that was a collaboration with the sand paintings? Those were the sand paintings was a separate thing? Or?
Sand paintings are a separate thing.
It's
I
a
have
separate-
lots of different projects going on
I
kind
know.
of continually.
What's a sand painting then?
Sand painting is where I actually go to the beach.
Oh,
And I will do a design or a symbol and use colored sand and objects that I take there and objects I also find on the beach. And then I'll build something and then I'll photograph it. And then hopefully the surf comes up and washes it away.
So it's just like this ephemeral thing. You build it, it becomes a piece of art, and then it continues the art project from your photograph?
Well, the photograph, I mean, I got this idea when I was traveling right before I went to the Yucatan to study the Mayans, and I kept thinking of this idea is that we know all this information about art history, but we very seldom see the work. We always see the photograph.
Right.
So I thought, okay, well, the photograph is king in many ways of getting the information out. So. But I wanted the experience to happen for the people that were on the beach. That just happened to come by. They had an experience with this thing on the beach. I photographed it, and then it was gone.
And what beaches did you use?
I started in Tulum, Mexico.
Oh, you did them in Mexico. Oh, great.
And then I kind of worked myself up the East Coast, and then the West Coast.
So we're doing all this stuff outside of the studio. You say people come to your studio and want to see art. Do you actually paint on a canvas in the studio?
I paint on anything that gets in the way.
But are you a canvas painter?
Yes, I do. I make canvas paintings. I'm making canvas paintings now. I'm also painting on metal.
What kind of materials when you're painting on canvas?
I'm a water painter. I like acrylics.
Acrylic.
But sometimes I'll use some enamels in oil-based paintings.
Do you mix them?
No, not really. I sort of juxtapose them and layer them. I like the fact, what I want my paintings to feel like when you have one of those is that when you walk by them, certain parts of the painting will jump and move because of the different
symbols.
Yes.
The symbols. Now I understand what you're talking about when you say you use symbols in your painting.
Yes.
What kind of symbols do you use? Let's talk about that a little bit, because that hit me. I remember when you used to say use symbols, like curlicues, triangles.
Well, I've come from sort of a geometric abstract background.
Oh, so there you are.
And at a certain point, I became interested in marks and gestures. And so basically the history of the written language, for centuries, people have been making marks and trying to communicate something through that mark. Then that mark sort of moved down the line through different cultures, meant different things. And but the circle to me is supreme.
The circle is it.
Yeah.
The circle. One thing that you did was you made some banners in Santa Monica years ago. And what were those? Did those have symbols on them?
Oh yeah, they had a lot of symbols.
And what was it? What was that
Most
project?
of the symbols had to do. They were all circular. They were a circle image within the rectangle.
On the straight banner,
on the banner.
Oh, it was a circle image.
And in most of them, they had to do with good luck, safe travel, and good business. So they were old symbols that I researched. And even though you didn't know what they meant as you walked under them, that I wanted them to have some kind of like positive.
And there were several all over Santa Monica.
There were 36 of them.
That's a lot, isn't it? Was it all downtown, or did it?
It was all on
out?
3rd Street Promenade.
Oh, it was.
It was a Santa Monica Arts Commission.
Fantastic. And another thing that you did was these diary paintings.
Yes, those were on sailcloth.
So you've painted, as you say, anything that comes along, right? When you made the banners, did they print them? Did you do?
Yeah, I had a sign painter hand paint them.
Oh, they were all hand painted,
But
on vinyl, probably,
on
right?
vinyl, yeah.
And so the diary paintings were on
Sailcloth. And what I did was the first time I bought sailcloth, I bought a 45-foot piece, and I made a 45-foot long painting.
Wow. Where did that go?
It's in my studio.
Is it?
It's 3 feet wide. It rolls up. The reason I was looking for something like sailcloth was that you could roll paintings, and the thing about making big objects is that you have to store them. So being able to roll them is a great, thing to do with it.
So that's like a diary rolling up?
Well, no, the diary part comes from, I'm always looking for things, and I have a very adventurous mind, and so when I would come across something or symbol that had something to do with what was going on in my life, that went into the painting.
Oh, that was your diary.
And so that became the diary.
So there's only one of these? There's only one
there's
diary
20,
painting?
20 of them.
There are?
Yeah, they're about
All
7
on these
feet by 9 feet.
Oh, really?
And then there's the 45-foot painting, too.
So do they come like year after year? You keep a diary this way?
I keep diaries all the time.
But on canvas?
On canvas, and also I write a diary.
Do you paint in a series, ongoing series, or is it always a new kind of series? Because what did you do shooting the I Ching? Was that a series?
Yes.
And what was that about?
Well, probably 20 years ago, I started studying Tai Chi and the I Ching, and I'm interested in the balance and balancing myself, the yin and the yang. And that led me to the I Ching. But the I Ching also has something to do about chance meetings and chance. Even though some people say there's no such thing as chance, it's all meant to be.
Oh, I see what you mean, that it wasn't preordained.
But the book, which is 5,000 years old, is made so if you're having a problem making a decision on something, you throw, used to be you throw yarrow stalks,
Yeah, that's what
48 of them, and
Yeah.
how they landed got you to a certain point in the book. Now we throw coins.
I
okay?
see, yeah.
But when you get to that point in the book, which is all by chance, that you've asked yourself a question, how do I make this decision, or what do I need to do? It takes you to a point in the book. And then you have to sort of get through the difficulties of the interpretation of the Chinese language to how we look at it. And we're Westerners, so we look at things very differently.
Right. And you do too as a painter. You're going to look at something different than I'm going to look at it, because you're going to see things I don't see.
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to open up to me, the spectator who's looking, a viewer looking at your work. Yeah. So what did you put in these paintings then from the I Ching?
I actually put pages from the book.
Oh, you did?
I actually cut pages out of the book. I paste them up. Then I do. The new work is from a circle, which is a mandala, basically, that you can see the words through the painting. And in what's the final layer on top of the painting is usually a labyrinth or a maze.
Oh, so it's something that goes like that.
Yeah, and so some of that idea, and those are actually computer-generated mazes, but I hand paint them, so it's the oxymoronic approach to hand painting something high-tech.
Wow, yeah, you get the computer, but you're still using the hand. The hand is there. So we've talked about all these different forms of painting. You do sculpture, you do street art, you do canvas, whatever. But another form of your art is writing. And you've written this memoir. Yeah. So tell me about that. What is that? Who is Captain Squid?
It's a character that I take on. It's an avatar. When I got a master's degree and I wanted to sort of unlearn some of the sort of theoretical stuff, and I didn't get a job that I was looking for, so I retired.
You retired?
I retired and moved to Key West.
You did? Back to Florida?
Right.
That's pretty interesting.
Right. But to the very bottom, the end of the road.
Okay.
And I bought a little 15-foot rowboat and moved onto an island 500 yards off of Key West.
So not very far.
Right. I would row back and forth, take everything out there. And one day there was 30 of us out on this island. And one day, the Monroe County sheriffs arrived in cigarette hull boats to remove us. And I got in a big argument with them. And then eventually, you know, we were all leaving the island, but I knew a guy in a schooner, and he called me over, and at that point he said, "Hey, Captain Squid." And so that's how it happened.
He called you Captain Squid?
Right. He called me Captain Squid because he was a little, I'm sure he didn't want me coming to his boat because the sheriffs were all there, and I think he had something else going on.
Like drugs?
Probably.
You're way down at the bottom. What else is it going to be, right?
Right. And so I looked back at the island, and 3 weeks later I went back with a friend of mine, and we collected everything from every campsite that had any value, we thought value, and took it to one point where my original campsite was, and set up a bar.
Oh, that's where you set up this like almost performance piece.
Right.
Installation.
But it was a speakeasy. I bought booze.
It was a real speakeasy?
Yeah, I bought booze. I took it to this. We called it the Tentacle Room. And boats would come by and we'd sell them drinks.
Oh, they would come and stop? Oh, so you opened your own bar, but it was an art piece in a way. You collected things and you put it, and you were living there in retirement? There you were in retirement, but you became a bartender and a captain.
Yeah, a captain. And for 30 years, I kept the Tentacle Room going in all my studios.
Oh, how'd you do that?
I built bars in my studios. And then when I moved to D.C., I lived right near the National Portrait Gallery. I built a bar in there.
That's when I lost you, when you moved to D.C., I think.
Yeah, I moved from Florida to Washington, D.C.
And then you came here?
And then I came to California.
Okay, then I didn't lose you. I found you when you came to California.
Right.
Okay, you came from D.C. then. Oh, I see. And in California, did you have bars?
In my studio, yes.
Yeah.
But in D.C., I actually had a membership. I sold memberships.
Oh, that was...
And the funny thing about it is you could see the FBI building out the window of the bar, which was hilarious because...
It was like Dallas Buyers Club. You could sell memberships to belong to this place to get your drugs, so to get your booze. But very interesting.
But this is a sociological project because what I was trying to do was build a society of artists and art-related people that would come together that normally didn't see each other or whatever.
To come to your bar.
Right.
Okay, we have a couple minutes left. Tell us about this fantastic painting.
This is more or less a conceptual piece, basically, even though it is it's on metal. And there's a very well-known artist, California artist named Billy Al Bingston.
We know him very well.
Yes. Well, he also made some objects that he made small little stamped dentos.
Smaller sizes. You
Right,
would
smaller.
like,
this
bend
one's
them up.
30 inches square, and it has dents in it.
Yes, I see the dents.
And
he bent them so that they were...
And I came one of the symbols that he used, and some people connect me with Billy Al because of the use of symbols and the centralization, is this what he calls, I think he calls it the sergeant stripes.
Bars and rockers.
Bars and rockers?
Yeah, I call it the sergeant stripes. I think he calls it bars and rockers.
Right.
And that's right in the center.
That's in the center, and you probably can't see it, but because it's very subtle, that he has it etched, how the bars and rockers are. And these lines were etched. But I went in kind of a collaborative approach with Billy Al and Michael McCall.
But he didn't know it.
But he didn't know it.
No, right. You were collaborating on his dento.
Right.
But I see your symbol. I see the circles.
Yes, the circles there too.
So you have this the gold circle, and then I see bigger circles all the way around.
And it, we're very connected here.
Michael, I'm so glad you came today. Thank you.
It's great to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for watching. Keep writing to JAQUINN1 at AOL.com.